almost like the Flashpoint, where it starts, one of the key matrix lines that will help shatter this status centralized system.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Flashpoint Radio. It is Monday, April 23rd, 2012. I am your host, Jay-Z, back from a much-needed rest and relaxation trip to Southwest Missouri, where I got a little fishing in, a little personal time with my father. I remembered the loss of my mother, and I shot some of my new weaponry, some of my new guns that we won't exactly say any more about to the federal government, but they already know about it, as you will find out soon enough in tonight's Flashpoint Radio. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone that I periodically am on Twitter at Flashpoint Radio, Facebook.com/Flashpoint Radio. Please subscribe to this feed above, then click like below if you enjoy it. Then reshare this with your friends. This information might be good. Might be a good start to waking them up. Give them some new areas to look at, and might pull them away from that brainwashing tube that is right behind me, that is probably controlling most of the people in your lives' time, and might bring your family back to you and turn their lives into something that is enjoyable, which is reality, because reality is so enjoyable once you actually grasp the complete totality of reality, the good and the bad. We're going to be talking this evening about the National Security Agency. This is the agency that keeps us safe by monitoring terrorist communications, correct? They would never spy domestically on the United States. Well, we're going to start this evening nearly 4 decades ago, in 1975, in an article that comes to us via Infowars.com from Washington's blog. This story came out yesterday on April 22nd. Influential senator warned in 75 NSA's capability could be turned around on the American people. This is a must-read boil down, as are all articles covered here on Flashpoint Radio. All the links to all articles can be found in the description below. But let's get right to the past, because if we do not take hold and notice and learn from the past, we will repeat it. But this is a warning, so this never actually happened. He was just warning our parents about what was to come. This is Senator Frank Church. He chaired the infamous Church Committee, which looked into the unlawful FBI COINTEL program, which was the program where the FBI put infiltrators into many various radical organizations or some non-radical organizations, and in some cases incited violence and used their people to get people to do things that they might not have already done. It's been carried out time after time after time again throughout the 90s with the freedom movement, with the jihad movement, and the supposed FBI capturing of all of the lackeys and the terrorist bumblers in the 2000s. And some people might say that Barack Obama was a member of COINTELPRO and was not in actuality a community organizer, but a federal government employee sent to spy on its people. Check it out. Do a start page, Google search on all of that. Barack Obama's mother might have worked for the Central Intelligence Agency when she was in Indonesia as well. But Senator Frank Church said in 1975, the National Security Agency's capability at any time could be turned around on the American people, and no American would have any privacy left, such as the capability to monitor everything. Telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide. If a dictator ever took over, the NSA could enable it to impose total tyranny, and there would be no way to fight back. Well, now the NSA is building a $2 billion facility in Utah, which will use the world's most powerful supercomputer to monitor virtually all phone calls, emails, internet usage, purchases, and rentals, break all encryption, and store everyone's data permanently for future data mining. This is referencing an article in Wired magazine titled "The NSA is Building the Country's Biggest Spy Center. Watch what you say." And in the article, it goes over an interview with NSA whistleblower William Binney. And we're going to hear from William Binney right now on an interview, roundtable discussion from Democracy Now! Let's go to the video.
Communicate. What are the restrictions on the government in terms of email?
Well, after some of the laws they passed, like the Patriot Act and their secret interpretation of Section 215, which is my view, of course, is the same as Tom Drake's, is that that gives him license to take all the commercially held data about us, which is exceedingly dangerous, because if you take that and put it into forms of graphing, which is building relationships or social networks for everybody, and then you watch it over time, you can build up knowledge about everyone in the country. And having that knowledge then allows them the ability to concoct all kinds of charges if they want to target you. Like in my case, they fabricated several charges and attempted to indict us on them. Fortunately, we were able to produce evidence that would make them look very silly in court, so they didn't do it.
Do you believe all emails the government has copies of in the United States?
I believe they have most of them, yes.
And you're speaking from a position where you would know, considering your position in the National Security Agency.
Right. All they would have to do is put various nearest devices at various points along the network, at choke points or convergent points where the network converges, and they could basically take down and have copies of most everything on the network.
As you can see, William Binney stated that he does think that nearly all emails are already being monitored by the NSA. And it is very funny, but this is what William Binney said when it came to the data mining that they are doing. He said he explains that the agency could have installed its tapping gear at the nation's cable landing station. These are areas on the coast that take in fiber optic cables that run underneath the oceans to bring in data from other countries. He said they could have done that to limit its eavesdropping to just international communication, which at the time was allowed under U.S. law. Instead, it made a choice. The government, people in the government made a choice to put wiretapping rooms at key junction points throughout the country, large windowless buildings known as switches, thus gaining access to not just international communication, but also to most domestic traffic flowing through the U.S. It doesn't stop at telephones. It goes into satellite communications in and out of the U.S., and now it's looking like email communications. They data mine, and as he said, they can create a profile of everyone they've gathered information on and use that to trump up charges, to possibly work to indict you, as they did this gentleman, as they have many others, and put you in jail for being a whistleblower, for talking outside of the box, or for maybe just calling out government corruption like so many of us do on the internet. And we should do that. He also said that the former head of the program, which is this William Binney, held his thumb and forefinger close together and said, "We are like that far from a turnkey totalitarian state." What is a turnkey operation? Well, it's a business wherein someone can leave the business there, and basically leave a virtual key for the next business owner to come in, turn the key, start the business, and begin operating. Meaning, any president can start something, i.e. executive order, that seems good at the time, or that his supporters, maybe they're in the majority, might not have a problem with. But then when that president becomes unpopular and a new president comes in, i.e. Barack Obama, he can come in and use all of the apparatus that was set up before him. And well, that's why we must watch our politicians, and we must not play party politics, and we must realize that we have a two-party dictatorship, and that it is two heads to the same coin. Heads, tails, they own the coin. They minted the coin. It doesn't matter which side comes up. They're the answer. Democrats or Republican. Let's flip a coin. Well, what happens if the answer is you're screwed every time you flip that coin? You lose. That's what we basically have. And this comes to us from the New York Times just today. Go figure. Shift on executive power lets Obama bypass rivals. Well, in 2010, Barack Obama said that he needed more power, more executive power to bypass a do-nothing Congress. The headline earlier today on Drudge was, "It's my government." He feels that Congress is not acting enough, so he wants to use executive powers that were signed by presidents previously and by himself to execute orders that he feels, the executive branch of the government feels, needs to be done. The people that vote, the people they vote in, are not strong enough to execute what is right for this country. Sounds a little bit like someone in Germany who said, the government is not strong enough to do for Germans what needs to be done, and I must take control. This is the executive power grab, and if you think that voting Mitt Romney in November will do anything different, turnkey, baby. Mitt Romney and his power-hungry friends will use all of these powers for their own good. So watch what you say on the internet, if you will, but I say no. I say speak freely, speak loudly, let them tap your phone, let them come after everybody because you have nothing to hide. Jay-Z signing off for Flashpoint Radio saying, God bless, keep your eyes to the sky, and come back and see me.
Get ready, man, we get too much. All the world will suffer, the wicked clutch.